So, the Mail did nothing wrong. Last Sunday, an unflattering article was released about the Labour Party's deputy leader, Angela Rayner. Here is a picture of the printed version that I found. If we scroll down ever so slightly, we can see. So there we are. There it is. Stone the Crows. Tories accuse Rayner of basic instincts ploy to distract Boris. This obviously wasn't received particularly warmly. For our convenience, let's get the online version up. So this is essentially what this is all about. A handful of Tories have accused Angela Rayner of uncrossing her legs on purpose as a tactic to distract Boris whenever he's addressing Parliament.
Oh, to be fair, if I was a woman, I'd do that all the time.
Yeah. That's the thing, and we will get on to that. But comparisons have been made of a particular scene featuring Sharon Stone in the film Basic Instinct. I'm not sure if you've seen it. I haven't seen it. I was. I
know of the scene.
Yeah, I know of the scene as well. And thankfully, in this case, Angela Rayner is fully clothed. Thank God. But Claire Fox, the Westminster establishment, as we will proceed to see, has taken a very, very one-sided view on this and has reacted by claiming that the very fact that someone has dared to suggest that she may be doing this on purpose and to publish the allegations that she's done this on purpose in an article qualifies as proof that a culture of institutional misogyny lies at the heart of Parliament. Claire Fox has already, of course, an ex-communist, has already cited this out as absolutely ridiculous, called this out as ridiculous. And she says, although I did also say that I thought those anonymous comments on Angela Rayner were vile and infuriating, any woman who has encountered such crappy sexism will sympathise, I am sure, but that is not the same as concluding that misogyny is widespread. A perfectly fair response. I mean, if Angela has indeed been unfairly accused, it obviously is vile and it obviously is infuriating. But even if that were the case, it isn't proof of institutional sexism. They could feasibly be isolated incidents, as with, anything else, whether it happens in the workplace or,
I know, but this is politics. Part of me is just thinking this is kind of funny, because I'd love to see the reverse as well. I don't know what the male version of that would be. But the idea of a bunch of Labour MPs being like, stupid, sexy Tories, like distracting me.
Yeah, or a man who comes out and says, I've been flashed by a female member of Parliament.
Yeah, it also seems like a weird self-own by the Conservatives here. They're like, Angela Rayner's too sexy for me to pay attention. Angela Rayner.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, she is, at 41, I believe, a grandmother.
I don't know that.
Yeah. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I did read that somewhere.
Oh, good for her for that.
But anyway, some Tory MPs have allegedly claimed that they heard Rayner say that she likes to do this herself. This is how the article reads. Conservatives have claimed that Labour deputy leader, Angela Rayner, likes to put Mr Johnson off his stride in the chamber by crossing and uncrossing her legs when they clash at Prime Minister's questions. Tory MPs have mischievously suggested that Miss Rayner likes to distract the PM when he is at the dispatch box by deploying a fully clothed parliamentary equivalent of Sharon Stone's infamous scene in the 1992 film Basic Instinct, with the difference being, of course, that Rayner is fully clothed. It is suggested that Miss Rayner also employs the tactic when sitting next to Keir when he faces Mr Johnson at PMQs. One MP said she knows she can't compete with Boris's Oxford Union debating training, but she has other skills which he lacks. I mean, that's a little bit classist, I have to be honest, but if that's what was said. But this is where it gets interesting. She has admitted, and I am quoting, as much when enjoying drinks with us on the Commons terrace.
So this is a statement that she may have said this.
Yes. Yeah. So the Tory MPs who presumably gave Dylan, the person who published the article, this information, have also said that she admitted to doing this herself. Now, again, that may be completely false. It may be the sort of thing that you say, I don't know, when you're joking around, at the pub after work or something like that. Worse things have been said. But if she did indeed say that,
seems grounds to publish an article.
It seemed like grounds to publish an article. I mean, after all, it's not completely it's not as if Dylan completely made this up. So the claims may well be untrue. However, let's just state the obvious. There's also the chance that they may be true, that she is actually doing this as a tactic of distracting the PM to make him perform worse at Prime Minister's questions.
I'd just be disappointed if he falls for it.
Yeah, but then again, he is married to Carrie, let's not forget that. This is quite literally her word against theirs. But the Parliamentary Cathedral has naturally, mobilised with lightning speed to defend Rayner without any proof one way or the other. One such member was the Speaker of the House of Commons, Lindsay Hoyle. Hoyle believed the matter to be so serious that he deemed it necessary to recall Parliament to address MPs about it. He basically told off the MPs who were involved, even though I believe they haven't been named, and announced that he had summoned the editor of the Mail Online about the fact that the article was published. Let's hear what the man said.
Took the issue of media freedom very seriously. It is one of the building blocks of our democracy. However, I share the views expressed by a wide range of members, including, I believe, the Prime Minister, that yesterday's article was reporting substantiated claims of misogynistic and offensive. Those are what we believe. I express my sympathy to the Right Honourable Member for Ashton-under-Lyne, subject to this type of comment, in being demeaning, offensive to women in Parliament. It can only deter women who might be considering standing for election to the detriment of us all. That is why I am arranging a meeting with the chair of the press lobby, the editor of the Mail on Sunday, to discuss the issue affecting our parliamentary community. I'm also arranging separately, and I believe we've now got a time where I will be meeting with the Right Honourable Member for Ashton-under-Lyne this evening.
Okay, so a free press is fine, a bedrock of democracy, in fact. But whenever it involves publishing an allegation about a female parliamentarian, perhaps acting indecently to distract her opposition, whether she has done so or not, that is not fine. Even though, of course, this wasn't made up. It is an allegation from members of the Conservative Party.
Yeah, I'm also wondering in my head, frankly, actually trying to do that on purpose. Like,
Yeah.
if I was a woman and I was in my 20s and ran for office, I'd have some fun.
Yeah.
Like, I just see where the line is, frankly. I'm not saying she is. I don't know.
You would be quite, shall we say, inventive with potentially what you could show.
I'd use my power.
Yes, you would use your power, your female privilege, if you like. But yeah, isn't it extremely odd that he sought to intervene like this? I mean, why is it the place of the Speaker to decide what should and shouldn't be published?
It's not.
It's not. So I think this may be a case of Lindsay Hoyle declaring himself as John Bercow II, maybe. But yeah, David Dillon, the guy who published this, has done nothing wrong, in my view, whatsoever. There's no evidence that the Tories are lying, nor any evidence that Rayner isn't involved in some form of foul play. And I genuinely believe that this is in the public interest. If that is what she's doing, and Tories believe it to be compelling enough that she is doing that, then you would think that's a story worth publishing, as distasteful as it may be to some. But anyway, from this, we can assume that Lindsay is either pandering to the woke, or two, believes that women should have the right to potentially flash other members of Parliament without being judged. Well, we have feminism to thank for that, if that is the case. Anyway, the editor, David Dillon, has refused the invitation, like a boss, and the Daily Mail, by extension, is having absolutely none of it. So if we get the declaration here. In the name of a free press, the Mail respectfully declines the Commons Speaker's summons for the Mail on Sunday to appear over its Angela Rayner reports. As it emerges, she laughed about the Sharon Stone comparisons, which she did, actually. She was aware of them back in January and talked about it on a podcast, which I can't remember the name of, and didn't seem to be kind of that fazed by it. Shall we listen to that audio clip now?
There is a tint of misogyny in it. I've got to say, I get quizzed on. Every time I do a PMQ, somebody has an opinion on what I want. Did you see the meme about Sharon Stone, like I was doing at the last PMQs? I was mortified.
You what?
Like, they did this whole meme about me apparently doing the whole, the whole... I was like, when did they do that?
What's that? I hadn't seen that at all.
Did you not see the Fatal Attraction thing when they did the whole thing?
I've seen the film, but I wasn't aware of it.
I wasn't aware I did it, but...
Yeah, granted, she says she's mortified by it, but it doesn't sound like it's like she's losing sleep over it.
No, it's funny.
No, it's quite funny. And she hasn't exactly, kind of, you could say, reversed the stereotype insofar as how she presents herself in Parliament. I'm not saying that she should, by the way. I don't think she has crossed the line insofar as how she presents herself in Parliament. But she's quite clearly aware of the comparisons. Is it really unfeasible that she may think, actually, do you know what? That could be quite a funny prank to play on the Prime Minister. if it throws him off at the important points and makes us look,
Well, that's the thing. Also, just be really funny. Like I said, if I was a woman, that's what I'd be doing every day, just to mess with the place.
Yeah, exactly.
But this does bring up a wider conversation. I've seen Jordan Peterson address it in the past, which is, well, how do we deal with the fact that workplaces are now not sex segregated, they're sex mixed? And he makes the point of, okay, well, when it's just men, well, what did we do? We ended up basically saying, okay, we need everyone to be uniform. And how do you do that? We make everyone wear a uniform. And the uniform for men universally just became the suit. And that was the case. And this has fallen out of place, most workplaces.
Yeah.
But in the parliament, for example, everyone is expected basically to wear a suit if you're a man. Whereas for women, it's broader. We don't really know. I mean, this isn't as hard pressed down as it is.
We're working this out as we go, and this could be one of the potential consequences that you do actually have some perhaps unconscious flirting going on between I don't know the front benches.
Do we enforce full length skirts, for example?
Well, I would
down to the ankles.
Well, you could go there with that argument, I suppose, but it would seem. It seems unappealing, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think anyone really has an answer to this, except the old feminist answer, which is just like women should wear.
Perhaps a good way to start.
Shoulders.
But perhaps a good way to start would be to suggest maybe, or be a bit more open to the possibility that women might use this to their advantage in a way that this lioness does in the video that I'm going to show you now.
She appears to have a plan.
Of course, Angela
This is
Rayner
outrageous flirting. Exposing her abdomen makes her extremely vulnerable.
Yeah, this is a female mammal doing a
But it's
female
clear
mammal thing.
This experienced female.
For those not
knows
picking
how
up,
to
this is basically a
manipulate
lioness
males.
using flirtation to distract a male from a foreign pack that
Titus,
it fears
the
is going
largest
to
nomad,
attack its own
scent marks.
herd, effectively.
He's
So the point that I'm
interested.
trying to make, without, I tried to use this video to make this part of the segment a little bit less cringe. I feel it might actually have done the opposite. But females in the animal kingdom.
I just love the idea of that happening in Parliament.
Flirtation has been used by females in the animal kingdom for social and political
God.
gain in some form since the beginning of time. So whilst humans are at a heightened state of self-consciousness, thank God, it should not be off the table to accuse female parliamentarians of potentially doing the same, especially when you have people like Lindsay Hoyle saying that they should not be accused at all. If you want to learn more about female privilege, please check out my essay on why feminists will not talk about OnlyFans, with my arguments ultimately being that feminists won't talk about OnlyFans because it is essentially a platform for women to hurt and subjugate men for financial gain, which is everything that ultimately feminists want, even if they don't like to admit it. Anyway, with that shameless advertising, let's return to Angela Rayner. So despite disapproving of the article's
It's just going to be memes of her as a lion after this.
Despite disapproving of the article's publication, Boris was rather unnerved by the fact that, well, of course, the speaker sought to intervene in the way that he did. It's a rolling article, but in short, Number 10 declared that whilst Johnson was disconcerted by the article, he was also uncomfortable about the fact that the speaker decided to weigh in on how a free press should conduct itself. The official statement is as follows: the Prime Minister is uncomfortable with the idea of a free press being summoned by politicians. We have a free press in this country, and reporters must be free to report what they are told as they see fit. The spokesman said Johnson would not want any perception of politicians seeking in any way to curb or control what a free press seeks to report, and that is absolutely right. And it's just simply irresponsible of the speaker to have done this. Boris is absolutely right to be concerned, but unfortunately we may have, well, needless to say, this might not be the only occasion that it happens. So yeah, Lindsay Hoyle's reaction perfectly represents the worldview of the cathedral, and the cultural side of which we are now going to see now. Everywhere you look, the support for Angela Rayner is overwhelming, in spite of the fact that, of course, her innocence is unproven, and of course, whether she's guilty or not, that's unproven as well. But here's how she was received on Lorraine Kelly, just like Lorraine Kelly showed us to give you an idea.
Angela Rayner joins me now. Angela, it just, I can't actually believe that we are having this conversation in this day and age. Does it feel to you, though, that this is a tipping point? That surely something is going to happen, changes will need to be made?
I hope so. I mean, I've been overwhelmed because when I heard of the story that was coming out and we rebutted it instantly and was like, this is disgusting, it's completely untrue,
please don't run a story like that. Because I've got teenage sons, and I was with my teenage sons, and I felt really sad again that my weekend, and I was trying to prepare my children for seeing things online that they don't want to see their mum portrayed that way. And I felt really down about that, but I was overwhelmed by people's response, because I just thought, is that what people expect and think about what I do? You know, all I worry about when I'm at the dispatch box is doing a good job.
So you contrast that with how she spoke about the issue
with her comrades.
With her comrades.
Yeah, like
radically different.
We have you on audio saying, admittedly, you say, oh no, you didn't realise you did it. But you say you did, and then here you're saying you didn't.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, she comes across as if she's being sincere. Like I've got to give her that, and for all I know, she may well have had a change of heart on the entire matter. But I'm sorry, this reeks of crocodile tears to me. And if there's anything, again, I'm terribly sorry if this comes across as misogynistic to some of our female viewers. Women are quite good at pretending to cry.
Yeah, they're better than men.
Better than men.
Regard.
Yes, they're far, far better at emotive manipulation, and that may well be, again, this is unproven, another example of it there.
But it's also women do have sexual power, and the women who recognize that and are able to use it are some of the most formidable women you'll ever meet.
Yeah, and as someone who had a child at 16, again, not judging, not making a classist statement here, you might think she learned the ropes quite early.
Maybe, but I'm more interested in like the wider aspects of this. Like, okay, we don't even know if this is a purposeful thing, right? It's rumors, whatever. But I'd love to see whatever the male version of this is, and can men even have a way of harnessing such power? And if not, well, then we have to kind of clamp down, especially on the female version of that, surely, to create an equal playing field. You
would think so, but ultimately, that it isn't really in the interest of the cathedral to see men as victims, is it? If Boris, for example, was to come out and say, do you know what, Angela has been bullying me in this way for months and months and months, and I actually have
Boris comes out with no shirt on,
actually,
in oil.
I have nightmares of the underwear that she's exposed for the last few months. Do you honestly think that's going to wash with the likes of Caroline Lucas or anyone in the Labour Party, perhaps even the female like members of the Tory Party? It seems so ridiculous, but that is the natural equivalent to what's being suggested here. If a female parliamentarian was flashed, for example, that would be taken as very, very serious, and rightly so. But the other way around, and it would take it from me, it would be received almost as a necessary laugh.
Yeah, it's a joke at the man's expense.
A joke at the man's expense.
And I don't know. I think that's the right way to do it. But at the same time, then we shouldn't really have that taking place.
But it is exactly. But there is clearly a double standard here. That's the point that I'm trying to make.
Because men and women aren't the same.
Because they're not the same, and thus you shouldn't hold them to the same standards because they're essentially different. But anyway, some of the responses from journalists have been quite amusing. One is from Kate McCann, who you may know of quite well, because she was famously known for taking Cole's joke about Jess Phillips completely out of context. Let's have a look at this. You see all those raging female MPs and journalists tweeting their rage at this story. It's because nearly every single one of us has experienced something like this in the course of doing our jobs, often repeatedly, and we are utterly, utterly sick of it. Yeah, so that's Kate McCann. Let's move on to the world's the second least ethical lawyer in the United Kingdom, Dr. Charlotte Proudman, only second to Sadiq Khan. As a woman from a working class background who also went to a comprehensive school trying to break my way into a system that was not built for me, our time is now, and the era of boys' club is over.
I don't know what is the boys' club in this situation.
Exactly.
I don't even know.
Exactly. Yeah, where is it? Let's move on to the next. We can see this is Richard Murphy saying that it's absolutely horrible, sexist, profoundly misogynistic, but he also goes as far as to say that it's fascist. Questioning why women think they have a role in parliament, let alone government, is another part of the message, and I'm sickened by all of it. Sickened by the fact that men, presumably, have accused a woman of doing something that could be traced back as intrinsically a woman thing to do, in effect. Given that we've actually broken this down in a primitive way.
It's not even, it's just so stupid as well. It's not a conversation about whether women should be in politics. It's a real conversation about how women integrate into politics.
Well, yes, because it's entirely besides the point.
Like, this is all relatively new. Like, on a societal level, this is a new thing, and there are differences between the sexes. And then, well, how do they interact with each other with it being an equal level playing field?
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure that can be done.
No. No. And if it can, then we're just going to have to work with, we're just going to have to see how it plays out, really, and be sensible about the events that occur. in between. But anyway, I'm going to conclude. The Mail did nothing wrong by publishing this article. They reported something that Tories claimed to hear about Rayner's conduct. It was irresponsible of the speaker to do what he did. I'm glad that the Mail Online didn't go along with it, because that would have been a huge concession against free speech. And yeah, let's hope that some sanity here takes precedence.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the Contemplation series that Josh does, this one with Carl, on what you can tell from a person's face. And if you want to follow what else Josh is putting out, you can follow him on Getter at Josh_firm on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.